Am I the asshole for refusing to go home when my fiance invited guests over without asking me first? Update. And #X200B. Thank you to everyone who commented. I didn't expect this to blow up. Thank you to the kind words, and thank you for the criticism too. A lot of people wanted more info, so here goes. My fiancé regularly invites people over and lets me know at the last minute. Most times it is only one person, and I tell my fiancé that it's fine, he can have friends over, but to please let me know at least a day or two in advance. This always gets ignored, which is why I reacted the way I did in this situation. Many times he will have a friend stay over for a few nights so that they can binge gaming. I am perfectly fine with this, as he has social needs, but please let me know so that I can mentally prepare to have people in my personal space. Regarding my job, just because I am management in hospitality, doesn't affect anything. I deal mainly with the staff and not customers. Millions of people suffer from anxiety, but guess what? We all need to have a job to pay bills. Just because I have anxiety does not mean I shit myself stupid when I am around people. I am an adult, I need to work in order to survive, and dealing with people on a daily basis is part of that. But when I do not need to be around people, I do not have to be. I am seeing someone for my mental health. I suffer from anxiety, depression and PTSD. I am getting treatment, and fortunately, I don't have to see people in my own house if I don't want to. My fiancé's work schedule is very different to mine. 90% of the time he works remotely, Mon to Friday, and is off on weekends. We see each other at night only, and this has affected our relationship greatly, and I have suggested couples therapy sessions which we are still discussing. So all in all, I know that I might have overreacted, but instead of going home and showing that I am in a shit mood due to piss-poor communication from my fiancé, I simply went somewhere else. Thank you to everyone. And #X200B. So as the title says, my 25F fiancé 28M invited a friend over on Sunday to help set up his new gaming PC. The friend brought his wife and 2 young kids with after I was told only the friend would be there. I have severe social anxiety, but I work over weekends so I didn't have to see them. Halfway through the day, my fiancé let me know that the whole family was there and that he had offered for them to stay the night. Please keep in mind that we have a small 2-bedroom house, and the second room is set up as an office. I am a gamer as well, and my PC is set up in the lounge, next to the couch, which is where the 4 of them would be sleeping. I was planning on playing that night until the early hours. This is where I might be I work 6 days a week, 12 hours each. This was on the night before my day off, so I was absolutely drained and couldn't stand the thought of having to deal with strangers in my house. I let my fiancé know that I was not okay with this and to retract his offer, and that I would like them to be gone when I get home at around 7 p.m. He started going on about how we will all sit and have drinks and have fun, that I was overreacting and that he can't help but be nice and make the offer. I was getting more and more anxious that he was putting their feelings into consideration rather than what I feel I need after an extremely long and tough work week. I am upper management at a restaurant and it was month-end and financial year-end. I ended up going to his sister's house, who stays in the same complex as us, and stayed there until they left at around 9 p.m., after my fiancé asked them to leave. When I got home, I found that the kids had messed sweets and cool drink all over the carpets, had stuck a ruler into a floor fan, and all around just be extremely messy. I was extremely annoyed that my night off was ruined, as I was planning on having a few drinks to wind down and play games. My fiancé and I ended up having a fight, where I kept asking how I didn't have a say over who can stay the night or visit or not. He just kept saying I was overreacting. And #X200B. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Not the asshole, he clearly wasn't thinking about you or your comfort if he invited 4 extra people to stay in your small apartment at the end of your very long work week. I hope he's planning to clean up all the mess they made, that's not on you either. If he wants to hang out and have drinks, he can do it at their house, that's set up to accommodate their number. Info: is this a common thing? E.g., fiancé ignoring your wishes, boundaries and doing things like this that make you uncomfortable? Equally, how close is this friend to your fiancé? I'm assuming pretty close considering the sleepover, so why do you refer to them as strangers? That seems to me to be an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship. The comments I have seen judge your fiancé for ignoring your feelings, but equally, and depending on the above, why would your feelings always trump your fiancé's? Because of your anxiety? I don't buy that. As presented, this relationship doesn't seem ideal, and I wonder why you are engaged? This is ignoring the pandemic, which both of you seem to have done. Not the asshole. You don't just decide that another family can stay over, the friend possibly because the two of them could stay in one room together and stay out of your way. You ask your partner if they have plans and if it's okay. After working 72 hours a week, I don't blame you for needing downtime, and if your fiancé can't understand that, then there's something wrong with him. A gentle esh. You're in a relationship, so unless he does this all the time, ignoring your thoughts, needs, I guess the question is, why do your needs outweigh his? Also 6 days a week for 12 hours, that's crazy. You are the asshole if you're not working to better your anxiety. You can't hide behind your extreme social anxiety. Literally everyone says they have one, to avoid society. You need to work on it. You'll have to socialize sometime in your life with people when you don't want to. So, get help or you are the asshole. Edit, op smells like a lying liar. There is no way in 1,000 years you're working as a manager in a restaurant whilst living with extreme social anxiety. Anyone who's worked even a month in the restaurant industry would know these things don't add up. So, you are the asshole. Not the asshole. You set multiple boundaries that your fiancé ignored. You might want to reconsider whether you want to spend the rest of your life with someone who refuses to listen to you or take your needs into account. There was a lack of communication on both sides, and a lack of effort to work towards a reasonable compromise. He has a right to have company, you have a right to enjoy your home, and there's a compromise somewhere in the middle. I get your need for not having strangers in your house, especially unexpected strangers. But since he had them leave, I can't understand why 2 hours of them being there, past 7, really ruined your whole night. You weren't wrong, but maybe you did make a bigger deal out of it once the thing was done than you needed to? Nah. Info, is there a good time for your fiancé to have people over? If then end of a 6-day work week isn't a good time, I can't imagine during the 6-day work week is better, which leaves no time for your fiancé to have friends over. Seems kinda controlling. You are the asshole. I disagree with the not the assholes so hard it sounds like you're overworked and overstressed, but you've made a mountain out of a molehill. He was in the wrong, but you do sound like a chore to live with. No assholes here, you definitely overreacted. Why knew they were visiting? It's a Friday, and easier to have a drink and sleep the night. Plans change when friends get together. You just wanted to stay up gaming and couldn't because they were in that room. Your fiancé probably misses his friends like crazy and got carried away and didn't want them to leave. You kinda sucked the fun out of all of their Friday. The parents would have probs cleaned up after the kids if you didn't kick them out at 9 p.m. as well. Not the asshole. It is your shared house, not his house. That means you both have to agree on who is allowed over and when. He doesn't get veto power. I'm assuming he knows about your social anxiety. What he did was super rude and disrespectful. I sincerely hope this is extremely unusual behavior for him, otherwise, you're in for a difficult marriage and you're not even married yet. 1. Your fiancé should have considered how you felt and taken into account that after working you weren't going to want to entertain people. And would want to relax. 2. It's your fiancé's home too. He should be able to invite people over. You guys need to find a balancing act between your feelings and his feelings. Especially if your job is really social at a restaurant and you need a break from social activities when he doesn't. Or if his job doesn't have him currently getting those social activities. 3. He and his friends should have been watching over the kids more and made sure to clean up after them. Everyone sucks here. I have social anxiety extremely bad. I don't go out much outside of with my daughter and boyfriend. My boyfriend is social. He respects my boundaries and doesn't push me to do something I don't want, but I would never be so rude to guests and purposely avoid my house and them. There's a point where you have to compromise too. The relationship isn't just all about your needs. There are 3 sides to every story. Cannot decide without hearing partner's version. Married here, husband does not need permission to invite anyone to our home. I'm not his mother. Heads up is all that is required. Anxiety is a thing, but perhaps his emotional needs also played a role? It's a bit presumptive to think only one person in a relationship has emotional or mental health needs. Not the asshole. 12-hour shifts are draining and you only get one night off a week. He should be mindful of the sacrifices you are making in order to contribute to the household. Your fiancé is tough, and honestly I would rethink spending the rest of my life with someone who didn't respect me and the hard work I do for the family. You function well enough to work 12 hours, 6 days a week in a customer-facing environment such as a restaurant but also have extreme social anxiety to the point that can't function because 4 people are staying over? Something isn't adding up here for me. If this is an isolated, one-off incident then everyone sucks here, leaning more towards you are the asshole for not allowing your fiancé to have one night with a family he is clearly close to. He obviously didn't discuss it with you first, which is why-ish. If it's not a one-off incident and this happens regularly then not the asshole, as everyone needs decompression time after working such crazy hours. However, this doesn't ignore that your fiancé might need social interaction as much as you dislike it. Not the asshole. It's always the same old song to be accused of overreacting when your feelings are being ignored or dismissed. Why the hell do these people need a sleepover? What's so nice about it? There's still a pandemic, is there not? Overnight guests need a lot of prep work and it's an inconvenience at the best of times. Hope he's the one who cleaned up the mess. You are the asshole because you could have just gone home and hung out in your bedroom or taken a bubble bath or something to wind down. You didn't have to socialize with them. Can I ask how long you're planning to keep working 6 days a week, 12 hours each day, and then coming home and playing on your gaming PC all night? Because if I'm being honest, I'm not really seeing where you're having the time to keep up this relationship. Your fiancé is probably lonely. Is your work schedule a short-term thing, or is it indefinite? He should have asked first before asking them to stay the night, but you could be more accommodating with a warning to make sure he asks you in future. We've all been over to friends, enjoyed ourselves and wanted to stay longer. I'd be annoyed if my friend had turned around and said no because of their partner who wasn't present. It would seem controlling. You are the asshole unless you take this as a cue that you need therapy and/or medication. You won't always be able to run away from all your friends and family because you wanted to play video games alone. Grow up. Honestly, he shouldn't have to ask permission to bring people over to visit, that's just controlling, but he should have talked to you about them sleeping over. You are the asshole, you can't hide behind your social anxiety as a reason he can't have anyone over ever. It's his house too. They left at 9 p.m., he took you into consideration. Making a massive deal over something that's now over. Maybe better communication from you both in the future. Grow up, be an adult. Yeah, it didn't work out like you planned. Welcome to life. If you're gonna run away every time something doesn't go your way, you got bigger issues. And guess what? Kids make messes, 'cause they're kids. For you to hide at your sister's while you make your husband recant his offer is absolutely insane and extremely rude. You are the asshole. He sucks, you suck. I feel sorry for anyone who has to put up with either of you. Especially someone with severe social and generalized anxiety disorders. I don't feel like there's enough information here to pull a judgment. Info 1. How often does your significant other have guests over? Is this a regular thing or a once-in-a-blue-moon thing? 2. I am having a hard time reconciling with the idea that you have severe social anxiety but yet pull 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week in the restaurant industry, of all places. Can you elaborate on this? 3. Edit. Is this a joint lease or is this your place, or his place? 4. Edit 2. How long have you and your significant other been together? My fiancé has the same problem with anxiety and I always ask her first, and I also let her change her mind if she can't handle it. All my friends understands this, and those who don't, do not get invited home. It's that simple. My GF's mental health are more important than anything else. The fact he does not recognize that shows a lack of respect a fiancé never should have. Halfway through the day they decided to spend the night with 2 toddlers? Did they run home for their things? Do they always have overnight bags packed in their car? Or was fiancé lying about what the plan was from the beginning? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The only reason I can see for the fiancé inviting the entire family to stay is that the adults all got drunk, high. This would also explain why the toddlers were ignored to trash the place. This is irresponsible and disrespectful behavior from someone you're planning to marry. Not the asshole, but maybe your job is stressing you out too much. A 6-day week of 12 hours each is unsustainable. Info. Are you in therapy? Social anxiety this severe needs professional help. I'm confused how you manage to have a high management position while being so uncomfortable around people. Why do your needs outweigh his? Communication needs to be better obviously, but expecting everyone to work around your anxiety is ridiculous. You need to take steps to improve your anxiety. Not the asshole. Who the heck invites people to stay the night without checking with their fiancé first? Why did they need to stay the night? Why did they think it was okay if they stayed the night? Why did all of them have to be there for the husband to help him set up a game? I would have been the same as you. Why are these people in my home? Not the asshole. And I'd get your of a boyfriend to clean up after them since he fucking insisted they could come. Honestly, why are you with a guy who doesn't care about your mental health and puts others before you in your own home? You guys need a serious conversation about boundaries if you guys are to survive long term. What a tool he is. I'm fuming on your behalf, so can only imagine how you feel. You are the asshole. You don't sound much fun, to be honest. Some spontaneity and flexibility should be allowed. Your fiancé should have cleaned up after, but if I had a family over and my boyfriend demanded they leave cause he was going to game instead, I would be rethinking if we were compatible. Look for a different job. 12 hours 6 days is basically 2 full-time jobs. That not healthy and it's not sustainable. It has clearly already put pressure on your relationships, and it is harming your health. Also, compromise is important. Does your husband ban you from having guests over? Did he ask for you to work these crazy hours, or is it your own desire for promotion, money, whatever? He lives in this home as well and has some say over what goes on in it. Definitely not the asshole. As someone who has social anxiety, and a partner who needs at least 24 hours notice for people visiting the home for his own anxiety, I sympathize heavily. It's important that you both get a say, and if you can't agree on one thing, then figure out a compromise. I want to know who would want to stay the night on a couch with 2 young kids and 2 adults. I have 1 young son, almost 2, and I have spending the night anywhere but home. I would never without thorough plans. Yikes. And not the asshole. You shouldn't have to have anyone in your home overnight you don't want there. Not the asshole. Your fiancé should have considered your feelings and your input on the matter of the home you share. You were tired from work and wanted to decompress and relax, not be a host to guests that didn't need to stay the night. Also, their kids messed up flooring. Did they not even offer to help get that cleaned up? NTA, but those friends deaf think you are. Couldn't even say hi. Damn. You have severe social anxiety but work as a manager at a restaurant. How does that work? You are the asshole. It's his house too. It sounds like you want things your way, and your fiancé to fall into line. Also, social anxiety doesn't mean you can be rude to people. Your fiancé asked them to stay, it's then rude to retract his offer because Op wants to play video games. I would say not the asshole if this was a regular thing, but it sounds like it was a one-off. Also, I have anxiety, but it's not an excuse to impact other people's lives. He has rights to be social just as you have rights to be in a peaceful home environment. Compromise is the key, and it seems like you just don't want to compromise. Inviting a whole family to stay without your partner's consent is an asshole move without the social anxiety piece. Not the asshole. Your fiancé stomped all over your boundaries. That's a huge problem. Not the asshole, and make him clean up. A little bit of though your fiancé sucks more. It's one thing to have someone over, but he should have checked with you before deciding that you would be prepared to socialize with a family after a 12-hour shift. It was selfish, and he should have read the situation better. But you also need to work on getting a better work schedule, if you can. That much work is not good for a person, and, if you're anything like me, it's actively making your anxiety worse and harder to deal with. Nah. Some people are extroverts and need social interaction just like you need social isolation. This is something y'all are going to have to learn to compromise in or decide if it's a deal breaker. Especially with COVID, so you can't really go out. He might be just as mentally exhausted from being isolated. If he has only done this rarely, I would have sucked it up for him. If it's a common thing, then you did well by putting your foot down. I think if it is a rare thing, then you definitely handled it poorly, and he has the right to be mad, while you had the right to not want to see others. Sometimes just because opposites attract doesn't mean they should be together. You are the asshole. How controlling are you? You should consider being more flexible. You sound like a lot to handle, and he may end up running if he can't live a somewhat normal life due to your anxiety.